Hi everybody, this is Michael Hildebrand and I'm your host on the Sleeptrust podcast, where I'm talking about how to gain back trust in your ability to have a superb sleep again.
In this week's episode, we're going to talk about stress and in particular how we can get rid of stress, release it through meditation. And as mentioned in last week's episode, I'm going to give you a technique that you can use right here in this podcast. So if you're driving in a car, you may want to pause this episode right now, or at least before the meditation part starts, and listen to this at home when you're relaxed, when you've got time to do so, and when you're able to basically close your eyes to meditate. So let's have a look at what stress is, what happens when we're stressed, and why stress is so bad for us when we want to fall asleep. First of all, stress is a good thing for us to have, and it's a core function when it comes to evolution. Because as soon as anything is kind of threatening for us, we get very alert, all our senses get tuned up, we get set into a particular survive mode, bring it to the extreme. So if you see that tiger somewhere standing around, it would be good to be prepared to, first of all, fight. So we could go into fight mode. We could also decide that our chances to survive fighting with the tiger, if we only have our hands, is kind of low. So we could go into flight mode. And the last thing that we could do is to go into a freeze mode. So we wouldn't do anything. And there are in particular oft animals, but also humans, that kind of get into this freeze mode to protect them from further harm. So let's have a look what happens in our offices. And remember, if we're stressed, we should have a look at where it's attached to fear. So what's going on is we're sitting in our office and we're handling tasks. We're handling many tasks. The demands are getting higher and higher. At least this is what many of us feel. And what happens then is that we at some point get stressed. And we think, first of all, we think it's just too many tasks that is stressing me. But the truth is, coming back to that threatening, that fear, that we have a fear somewhere. We have a fear that we're not able to handle all of these tasks, so we might miss out on a couple of them. We have a fear that we're not going to get our work done, so somebody is going to be unsatisfied. Our boss may turn out to be the tiger. We may also get stressed if we get demands from the left side and the right side, colleagues coming in and kind of throwing stuff over to us. And we're maybe not able to say no to them, say, no, I cannot do this for you at the moment, because there's a fear of rejecting them, because they may think bad of us and talk bad of us. It's quite a multi-layer game that's going on here. Just to set up this episode right, if you are somebody who has had or is having stress on a continuous basis every day, from day to night, something like that, over weeks and months, this is nothing that we're going to address in this podcast. So you may want to buy yourself a good book, get advice from a doctor, or look at the tons of material you can find, really good material you can get for free on YouTube, on the internet, to really dig deeper on that, because it's not only bad for if you want to fall asleep, but it's also really health harming, and it's bad for your life quality, as you know. If you're stressed, you're not feeling good, so definitely take action. But what I can give you here is a technique that you can use right away. I'm going to start off with this in just a couple of minutes, and it will help you to calm down in a super short period of time. And you can use this technique, which will be a meditation, of course, as this is our overlying topic. You can use this meditation to not only calm yourself down during daytime, but also, and of course that's why we're doing this too, to fall asleep faster and have a better sleep. So if you do this right before you go to sleep in bed, then you'll probably have the best results. The meditation we're going to perform together in just a while is based on two techniques. The one is a meditation technique that's called the body scan. We talked about that in last week's episode. And we are not going to perform a full body scan here, but we're going to focus and concentrate on just a couple of body parts that are really affected through stress, which are our tummies, our shoulder, neck part of our body, the breast and heart. So these are the body parts we're going to focus on. And the second technique is called anchoring. And anchoring is really powerful because it kind of gives us the power to connect certain states, so a calmness state or a loving state or you name it, to an object. And we want to take an object to anchor that is small, that we can hold in our hands and that we can put in our pockets and carry around with us throughout the day without anybody else taking notice. So for me, this is going to be a little stone I picked up in the last holiday, or in one of my last holidays. And I'm going to take this little stone as an anchor as it fits into my hand perfectly. I love to touch it, and it will just disappear in my pocket if I wanted to. The guy who actually found out about all of this was called Pavlov, and he did so with an experiment where he fed dogs and rang a bell at the same time. And what he did then was to measure the production of saliva from those dogs. So in the end, after a couple of days, he only had to ring the bell to get those dogs to produce the saliva amount they would have produced usually when they had their meal. And this is basically how it works. And we're going to use it not to produce saliva, but to anchor our calmness that we build up during the meditation to this little object that we can carry around with us everywhere. So when you're listening to this the first time, you will probably not have this object around you right now, and that's no problem. I'm going to walk you through that meditation, and you're going to come back, if this meditation works for you, with that object and just listen to it again and again and again until you anchor these good, relaxed, calming feelings and are able to utilize this not only over the course of a day, but also before you go to sleep. This is only going to be a very short meditation, about 5 minutes, to let you relax anywhere. So you can do it at work, you can do it at home, you can do it before you go to sleep. So let's get started with our meditation now. If you're not sitting at a place where you can relax, where you can maybe even close your eyes, and where nobody will disturb you in the next 5 minutes, then hit the pause button right now. Go to a place where you can do so and then continue to follow on with this meditation. I want to invite you to sit down really comfortable right now. And if you feel good, to close your eyes and start to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth. And it's important that you keep the focus on your breath and try to follow the words that I say, as I want to invite you to just imagine that you're surrounded by calmness and that you're able to breathe in the calmness through your nose and release the stress through your mouth. And breathe in the calmness through your nose and release the stress through your mouth. And maybe you can already feel that the calmness is starting to flow through your body after only these handful of breaths. And this might give you a hint of how powerful only breathing in the calmness through your nose and breathing out the stress through your mouth can be for you. Breathe in the calmness through your nose and release the stress through your mouth. I want you to continue to breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your mouth, while you start to focus on your neck and your shoulders. Are they tense or are they relaxing? And you might already be able to feel the sensation of relaxation. Breathing in the calmness through your nose and breathing out the stress out of your mouth. And start to feel that calmness running down your neck, over your shoulders, and relaxation taking place and control of your muscles, and releasing every piece of tension or stress that may have been there until shortly you breathed in the calmness through your nose and released all of the stress out of your mouth. Start to feel breathe in the calmness through your nose and release the stress. Keep that relaxed state, and by doing so, take that object into your hand. This object that will be a very special object to you. And close your hand carefully, holding this object, feeling it, and continuing to breathe in the calmness through your nose and focusing on your hand, the object. Feel the calmness. And one last time, concentrate on your hand, the object, and breathe in the calmness through your nose and release the stress through your mouth by focusing on your hand, the object. Now, put the object away and know that we'll take the next couple of breaths to bring you back. Bring you back to that place where you're sitting, getting your attention more to the outer world, so-called reality. So I invite you to start opening your eyes slowly. While this meditation is coming to an end. And keep breathing in and breathing out. Take another 2 breaths to get awake. And another breath to bring you back. Let you feel completely refreshed and awake. And that was our little 5-minute meditation. I hope you liked this little meditation and that you were able to experience how easily and how quickly you can really release your stress and calm down, get into this relaxing state. And this was only a 5-minute meditation. You can imagine how good you could calm and relax if you did this for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. And maybe you'll take this little 5-minute meditation and do it 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Really anchor that calmness to the object you chose and really pick up that object, take it with yourself over the course of a day. And if you feel that you're stressed, just use it. So you might like to leave me a comment on how good this works for you. And with that, I would say, let's wrap up this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast. So stress is a very, very core function of our bodies, protecting us from threats. And we fall into fight, flight, or freeze mode when this kicks in, and this stresses us. Stress is exactly the opposite of what we need to have a good sleep, because it brings our body into the full alert mode, and we want to be calm and relaxed before we go to sleep. So use that meditation, meditate to get calm, get relaxed. Use the anchoring technique to be able to set that state of your body whenever you need it. And I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Sleeptrust podcast, and that you tune in next week where we're going to talk about meditation too, and how meditation can help you to release worries. Until then, have a superb sleep.
Hey there, and thanks for listening to the Sleeptrust podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to get further information on this podcast or material that will help you to gain back your sleep trust, please check out sleeptrust.eu. That's sleeptrust.eu, where you will get lots of information around sleep. And here comes some legal stuff. Everything on this podcast is my opinion only, so do not take it as an advice, as I am not a doctor, nor have I considered your personal situation. If you feel that you need medical advice, please consider getting an appointment at your doctor of trust. If you want to give me any kind of feedback on this podcast, feel free to email me at podcast@sleeptrust.eu. I hope you tune in again next week, and until then, have a good sleep.